The Continental War raged on for 100 years. In its final days, a legendary man operated in the shadows. Rios Berger, a master of magical tools, rumored to have slaughtered tens of thousands of enemies. No matter how powerful the monsters were. Disaster-class monsters with world-destroying power were taken down by Giant in just a few moves. None could withstand that ultimate power, nor could the humans who controlled them. And to this day, his whereabouts remain a mystery. He killed anyone who dared point a sword at him, obeying only the orders of his nation. But as soon as the war ended, he vanished. A voice called out from outside. "Hey, Grandpa." Jay sat down on the chair and asked excitedly, "Sword training? I want to practice swordsmanship. Do you know any effective ways to train, Grandpa?" Giant paused and asked, "Swordsmanship?" He chuckled softly and went back to wiping the vase in his hands. "That's something only barbarians make a fuss about. Anyway, Jay, help me clean the yard instead. There are a lot of fallen leaves." Jay frowned in disappointment. "Why me? You used to swing a sword around too, right, Grandpa Giant?" Giant countered, "That was a long time ago. These days, I'm not even sure I can lift a sword." Jay laughed in agreement. "True. You have even less muscle than I do." Giant sighed helplessly. "This brat." Jay stood up, stretched, and said lazily, "So boring. I was hoping it would help with the academy entrance exam." Giant looked at him and asked, "The academy?" Jay walked to the door and said mysteriously, "The truth is, there's something I really want to do. It's a secret for now, but just you wait and see." Giant stared blankly as he left. He chuckled, suddenly realizing, "You've reached that age already, huh, Jay? Well then, I guess I'll just have to keep on living until you're ready to tell me." Giant recalled his past. When Jay was just born, I was still immersed in battles day after day. Every day was just fighting and killing. Killing enemies. Killing. Even when my body was drenched in sweat and fresh blood, I kept on killing. Every day, I fought for my country and my people. Those days turned me into a humanoid weapon with neither blood nor tears. And then, even my beloved family. The entire house was burned to the ground by a massive fire. Giant's relatives lay lifeless on the ground. He could only scream in agony. Who did this? I will find the one responsible for this and wipe out their entire bloodline. In Giant's most desperate moment, he saw that the baby was still alive, protected in its parents' arms. Jay. A faint glimmer of hope flickered in Giant's eyes. He knelt down before the crying infant. He gently lifted the child into his arms. The baby smiled warmly, causing all of Giant's suppressed emotions to break free. Jay became the light of my life. I promised myself, the life my daughter and son-in-law left behind. I will protect this boy at all costs. And if that means... Giant inserted a key into the locked door. A corridor led down below, even if it means breaking taboos. Below, there was something covered by a white cloth. Giant stepped forward and pulled the cloth away. Inside was a figure identical to him. Giant clenched his fists. No one knows better than me that this body doesn't have much time left. But with this, I can still. Just then, someone arrived outside. "Excuse the intrusion." Giant hurried out to greet them. "Welcome. What kind of magical tool are you looking for?" Maxco slightly lifted his black mask and smiled. "A mythical item." Giant recognized him, his expression turning surprised and guarded. Maxco waved his hand and sighed. "Finding you was quite a hassle, Rios Berger." He pointed his sword at Giant and reiterated, "You, the one once known as the assassin doll, and the ultimate magical tools crafted by your own hands." As soon as Maxco finished speaking, he stomped the ground and lunged forward. "I'll be taking all of them." He brought his sword down toward Giant's head, shouting with excited confidence, "For myself." A blinding light erupted. In the thick smoke, Maxco's smile slowly froze. "I see. So you're still active, even at this age." Giant used magic as a shield to block the attack. Artifact creation magic skill allows the user to create magical tools out of thin air by infusing them with their own mana. Magical tool, Holy Shield Aegis. Nullifies damage below a certain threshold and provides impenetrable protection. Giant asked coldly, "Where did you hear about the mythical items?" Maxco shrugged. "Glaring at me won't do you any good." He raised his sword again to attack. "I'm just a hired hand, you know." Giant raised his hand, using his magic. Artifact creation. If that's the case, artifact creation magic skill. A loud explosion echoed from inside, but Max Go managed to dodge it in time. He stared at the glowing light in front of him. Magical tool, Holy Sword Sybil. Amplifies the user's mana and physical abilities to their absolute limits, proportional to the mana consumed. Giant gripped the sword tightly and said coldly, "Then I'll beat it out of you." He swung the sword, unleashing a sharp blade of light, and continued, "Where is your master hiding?" Max Go laughed arrogantly. "This pressure, it's as overwhelming as the rumors say." But he unleashed a flurry of strikes, boasting, "The deterioration of your body is plain as day." Giant blocked the attacks, clearly struggling a bit. Just then, Jay opened the door and called out, "Grandpa." Giant turned his head in panic. "Jay, don't come any closer." Max Go, clearly knowing this was his weakness, smiled wickedly. In the blink of an eye, he appeared behind Jay, holding a bell. The sound rang out. Mythical item, Echo of Memories. Giant called out frantically, "Jay." He recognized the item and thought, "Damn it, that bell." Max Go, having manipulated Jay's mind, said with amusement, "What a wonderful body. Truly worthy of being your grandson." He drew another sword. "This might be a bit." He then tossed it in front of Jay. "Too much for an old man like you." Jay caught the sword and charged at Giant. Giant raised his sword to block the boy's attack. That bell is a magical tool that can rewrite memories. Right now, Jay has effectively been brainwashed. To break it, I have to defeat the caster, or... Giant parried the sword. There's only one other way. Deliver a massive shock to the boy's brain. He narrowed his eyes, making a decision. There's no other choice. Giant deflected Jay's sword. Then, he clenched his fist decisively and swung forward. "Forgive your grandpa, Jay." Giant punched Jay hard, sending the boy flying backward. Max Go stood there, stunned. No holding back, even against your own family. Giant, who had somehow appeared behind him, spoke with a chilling voice, "I know how to hold back." As Max Go turned his head, "Oh shit." Giant unleashed a devastatingly powerful sword strike. Just then, another figure appeared and spoke calmly. "I figured as much. How could a low-level thug like him handle this?" Giant was surprised. The one who hired him. He turned his head. "What?" His expression turned grave. "What is this?" Giant wondered grimly. "What is this monstrous presence?" In a flash, Haste leaped up, ready to swing his sword. Giant was still frozen. Why now of all times? His heart suddenly clenched in pain. Before the sword could reach him, Giant clutched his chest in agony. He looked up just as Haste's sword aura materialized right before his eyes. Haste paused slightly, because that strike had been blocked by Giant's shield. He dropped to one knee, barely having any strength left. "My body may have decayed." Giant raised his sword again with resolute power and declared, "But my mind and skills certainly haven't." A piercing sound echoed. A few drops of blood fell onto the cold ground. Giant's body trembled violently. His eyes slowly shifted backward. That sword strike was delivered by none other than Jay. His voice trembled, "Jay." Jay suddenly regained his senses. He looked at the person in front of him in bewilderment, then realized the situation and froze in horror. "Grandpa." Jay looked down at the sword in his hand. Haste seized the opportunity to attack. He unleashed a powerful slash with all his might, forcing Giant to take the full brunt of it and sending him flying backward. Jay turned his head in that direction, calling out in a panic, "Grandpa." From behind Jay, Haster's robotic voice rang out, "Out of the way." Zion lay motionless in the messy rubble. "My body won't move anymore. The injuries are too severe." He gritted his teeth. At this rate, Jay's voice was firm as he emphasized, "Don't take another step." Zion called out in surprise, "Jay." Jay pointed his sword, ready to risk his life to threaten Haster. "I don't know what you're after, but if you dare lay another finger on my grandpa, I won't hold back." Haster looked at him without any emotion. Zion, propping himself up despite coughing up blood, worriedly tried to stop him. "No. Stop, Jay. He's not someone you can defeat. Run." Jay didn't listen and faced Haster. Haster wasn't in a hurry to attack either. He slowly walked over. Jay let out a shout, then raised his sword for a horizontal slash. Zion roared, but Haster waved his hand and took Jay's head. Zion took in the whole scene, the boy's silhouette flashing in his mind. Zion cried out in agony. Jay. The boy's head fell. Haster, facing Zion, said, I told you not to leave any witnesses behind. Zion reached out his hand. His rough, trembling fingers reached out, calling his name, Jay. Haster ruthlessly stepped on him. You used to be stronger than anyone, but... He raised his sword, looking at him coldly one last time. Not anymore. The sword fell. I let him die. The child who saved me from despair. That child. Jay. The pain turned into extreme hatred. I swear I will avenge you. The final condition to awaken the skill has been met. Death. The mana control limit of the artifact creation magic skill has been lifted. Under the effect of the awakening skill, the user's soul will now be transferred into a magic tool. The magic tool body in the basement emitted magic. A complete body. He opened his eyes. Mythical items. Among the magic tools that can cast specific spells just by channeling mana into them, they are the taboo creations of the genius creator Magriot B. Tools that control time, space, and souls. It is a world-shaking power that rulers everywhere covet. One is a medicine boat that allows you to see the future, and another is wings that allow you to leap through space. A key that unlocks the heart and pulls out secrets. The last is a tuning instrument that manipulates emotions. But most of them disappeared without a trace when Riosberger went missing. Maxko sat in front of Jay's corpse, feeling quite alert. Don't leave any traces behind. That's what you said. With such a grand entrance, of course we'll have a ton of witnesses and a nightmare of a mess to clean up. He held up something he took from the boy to examine. After all that, I deserve at least this much. Zion appeared behind him. Mythical item, reincarnation doll. I created this doll so I could watch that boy grow up. His eyes glared at Maxko with resentment. But thanks to you, scum. Magic tool, artifact creation skill. Zion summoned a guillotine. Bloody execution blade. You monsters even laid your hands on a child. Every action has its consequences. He charged from behind. Maxko sensed it and turned his head. And now, it was also time for Zion to swing the guillotine. He swore, I will make you face them. Not far away was the burned-down house. Zion dug a hole, his lifeless eyes staring blankly as he called out, Jay. The boy used to pull Zion's hand and call out, Grandpa? Over here. Hurry up, Grandpa. Sometimes, when he saw his grandpa giving him the last piece of food and refusing to eat, he'd say, Hey, that's not fair at all, Grandpa. Sometimes he would stand at the door, looking sad, and say, Grandpa, I can't sleep. Most recently, just yesterday, Jay had excitedly told him, Actually, there's something I really want to do. It's a secret for now, but just you wait and see, Grandpa. Zion closed his eyes. I never got to hear what Jay wanted to do with his life. The one who killed Jay, they called him the client. Zion made a decision. I will hunt him down and make him pay. He searched Maxko's body. And more than that, I have to recover the stolen mythical items. The only clue left. Zion paused. He took out a pendant. It's this man. This is a pendant of the Eugen clan, right? Artifact creation, starlight compass. The guiding star of the nebula reads information from an object and locates its owner. Zion placed the pendant into the starlight compass. If I follow every single clue, I'll eventually track down this so-called client. The starlight compass revealed the location. Zion calculated. First, I'll attack their base. He observed for a moment and deduced. This must be the place. With their soul reading skill, they can extract memories from the faint mana traces left in a corpse. Because they don't need to torture or threaten to get information, they were used as an intelligence unit during the Great War. Zion made his way straight to the hidden village, the Valley of Mist. As he walked, he observed the place a bit. Ever since I disappeared, I've only interacted with a few people. Even my old comrades would have a hard time tracking me down. But if that assassin is from the Eugen clan, it's a different story. They will hunt down every single person who might have crossed paths with me, then extract memories from their corpses, and eventually trace me. Suddenly, a sword tip pointed at him from behind. Halt! The masked man interrogated. Only clan members know this place. Who are you? There were also many people in front of Zion. The man threatened, refuse to answer, and you'll die right here. Zion glanced at the man and retorted, Do you really think an intruder would answer politely? The man didn't waste any more words and swung his sword. Then die. Unexpectedly, The sword broke before Zion even made a move. The man was terrified. What? Only then did Zion strike, sending the man flying far away. The others were bewildered. It broke. They simultaneously attacked with magic. Then let's crush him with magic. A massive, earth-shattering explosion occurred. We can still identify him from the minced meat left behind. When the dust settled, Zion was still standing there, not a speck of dust on him. The orange-haired man panicked. What? What kind of monster are you? Zayat looked down, judging them. You guys must have hunted down every last person who ever came into contact with me. He raised his head, his eyes oppressive as he asked. In that case, to extract the right memories, how many people have you killed? The orange-haired guy stammered. What? What the hell are you? Zayat raised his hand, not wanting to talk to them anymore. Never mind. Don't say another word. Magic tool creation skill. Iron Maiden. A steel torture device appeared. The orange-haired guy was thrown inside. Zayat said ruthlessly, "The only thing I want to hear from you is your agonizing screams." The orange-haired guy reached out in terror, but the torture device snapped shut. The rest of them met the same fate. Zayat casually walked further inside amidst the agonizing screams. Somewhere, one guy was still alive because Zayat had knocked him away. He looked around, shivering as he asked, "What the hell is this? No way. Are they all dead?" Zayat spoke up to let him know. "Everyone. Except for you, the one who passed out." He fell to his knees in despair. "You bastard. What the hell do you want?" Zayat summoned his weapon and said coldly, "You don't need to worry about that. All you need to do is tell me what you know. This method is a bit old-fashioned, but it gets results." He held the weapon to the guy's neck and interrogated him. "Where is the client?" That guy was beaten half to death by Zayat. He glanced at him and said, "In the end, you didn't know any useful information. As expected, things aren't that easy. I searched every corner of their base, and all I found was a list. Clients." Zayat read through the list page by page. High-ranking officials from various countries. Elite officers. Buyers from small trading companies. Are there pages missing here? Zayat put the list down, thinking in frustration. Looks like someone tore a few pages out. That bastard is really cautious. The way he covers his tracks, and that power too. He must hold a pretty high position. An S-rank adventurer? Or maybe. Zayat recalled what Hastio had said, and the words he had spoken. You used to be stronger than anyone. He frowned in suspicion. Someone who knew me from the war? Zayat shook his head, dismissing his deduction. No, it's still too early to jump to conclusions. I need more information. He touched a piece of paper. Let's look at it again. Decided. In that case, the next place I should go is to find this man. The vengeful assassin doll. The assassin doll. The next morning, Zayat stood outside a manor. A bell rang inside. He walked inside. Zayat stopped, looking at a framed picture placed on the table. He reached out to touch it. Behind Zayat, someone appeared, ready to attack. He felt a bit suspicious. A child, Zayat noticed and turned his head. In the end, one attacked, the other blocked and retreated. Lit spoke up defensively. Who are you? He took a fighting stance and interrogated. Why do you look like him? Zayat waved his hand and said calmly. Such a cold greeting after all this time? We're old friends. A hug would be better. Veins popped on Lit's face. He immediately rushed forward, unleashing an iron arm attack. He threw a punch that generated a powerful gust of wind, sweeping through. Several glass panes shattered from the impact. Unexpectedly, the one who was surprised was Lit. Hey, Zayat blocked the punch and asked in confusion, why did you rush in and punch me like that? Lit, furious, swung his other arm. Shut up, Zayat finally realized. Don't tell me he really doesn't recognize me. Left with no choice, he moved his body with incredible speed, causing Lit's punch to miss. He turned his head in surprise. That movement! Zayat took a few steps forward. I told you. Then he spun around. It's me. He kicked Lit. How many times do I have to say it? He took the hit and was sent flying to the ground. Lit's body fell weightlessly. Zayat scratched his head in confusion. Looks like I went a bit too far. After a while of detailed explanation, Lit finally believed it was Zayat. Unbelievable. It really is you. Zayat. Zayat's comrade in arms, Lit brow. Lit brow. Zayat took a sip of tea, looking slightly annoyed. Geez, I'm really hurt that you didn't recognize me. He chuckled self-deprecatingly. Getting old is really scary, isn't it? Lit listened in despair. How was I supposed to recognize you? Normally, no one gets younger like this. He raised his hand and asked, by the way, what was with that punch earlier? You hit even harder than in your prime. Zayat said matter-of-factly. Of course, it's thanks to a magic tool. I thought a former member of the Royal Army's Independent Ranger Squad would recognize it right away. Lit leaned back in his chair, waving his hand in disagreement. You're talking about a lifetime ago. I'm not in active service anymore. He recounted. After the war ended, I retired into seclusion. After the war ended, the whole world changed. People stopped fighting and started reclaiming what they had lost. Now everyone is busy making their own lives better. Lit smiled and said, even I've settled down. Got married and had kids. Lately, I've been working as a big shot merchant, controlling the capital's trade network. Zayat marveled. That's quite a promotion. Lit replied proudly, of course. He was a bit puzzled. And then you show up looking exactly the same as back then. What the hell are you planning? Zayat fell silent for a moment. Then, with a lonely voice, he said, I've become a grandfather too. It's a long story, but are you willing to listen to me? After a while of telling Lit everything, he picked up his teacup and said, I see. Lit raised his cup and said more quietly, you've been through hell. Zayat asked further, so, from that Ayaj clan's client list, you found my name and came here? Lit asked in surprise, those guys actually kept a list? Pretty diligent for underworld scum. What if it gets leaked? What if it gets leaked? Zayat slightly raised an eyebrow, evaluating. Honestly, I never thought you'd use their services. Lit sighed helplessly. The merchant world has its own troubles. More importantly, what are you going to do next? Zayat clenched his fists and said, that's already been decided. His face turned cold, with only one thought in mind. Revenge. Lit paused slightly, but only for a moment, then asked Zayat again, is that really what you want? Zayat smiled bitterly. Who knows? But this is how I take responsibility. A debt of blood must be paid in blood. I won't just stand by and ask questions, and this isn't just about the shoes. Dot clenched his fist, his mind made up. If those stolen artifacts are misused, this world could easily be reshaped. I can't let that happen. Lee didn't want to, nor could he, talk him out of it. There was no room for argument. So, you're planning to hunt down this client, right? Dot took something out of his pocket. Yeah, and that's why I need your help. Lee sighed. I figured that's why you showed up. What information do you need me to get? Dot said, I'm glad you're quick on the uptake. He handed over a slip of paper and said, I want you to gather everything on this list. Dot smiled, revealing his plan. I'm going to craft a new magic tool to take that bastard down. Lee took it, looked it over, and finally agreed. All right. Dot added, and one more thing. Dot looked at Lee and asked, back when you were active, you had extensive connections in the underworld. You must know how to infiltrate the Black Society, the place that gathers all underworld intelligence. Lee didn't hesitate. The ruined round table, Crick Life Perry. The largest archive in the capital, a great library of knowledge. You can find out anything here, in any field. But that's just its facade. Dot took a book off the shelf. Its true purpose is concealment. Moving the books in the correct order. As Dot moved them, the sound of a mechanism echoed. And a door leading into that darkness opened. He followed the stairs down. Dot looked around. So this is it, the Black Society's ruined round table. Suddenly, a man attacked him from behind. Dot quickly turned and blocked the blow. He looked coldly at the man in front of him. That's quite a violent greeting. Jiang Dun laughed and said, that's just how we do things here. London's bounty hunter. He raised his hand casually in greeting. Hello there, little receptionist. She gave a professional smile and replied, yes, sir. All the jobs we provide here are extremely dangerous. Receptionist Mina. Mina warned him first. If you join with half-hearted resolve, you'll die for nothing. And cleaning up that mess costs us money too. She asked again, even so, do you still want to register with the guild? Dot replied, of course. That's why I'm here. Mina asked for more information. Then we will proceed with a registration test. Please tell me the name you'll be using. Dot touched his chin, considering. A name? He thought. I have several aliases, but any name I've used before could be traced. I need a name that helps me hunt him down, a name fit for an Avenger. Dot finished his thought and smiled. All right. He reached out his hand, decided. Just record my name as Roddy. Mina replied. Then, Mr. Ray, we shall begin your registration test. Dot asked, a registration test? She replied, that's right. Mina opened the door and said, I'll explain as we go. This way, please. The three of them went downstairs. Mina explained further, just like the Adventurers Guild, we categorize all our requests. There are 7 ranks, from S to F, and jobs are assigned according to the appropriate difficulty. Even the lowest F-rank jobs come with a real risk of death. That's why everyone who joins must take a registration test first. Dot understood. I see. They screen candidates to keep the guild's overall level high. Mina smiled brightly and replied, exactly. We can't entrust jobs to half-baked amateurs. We're running a business here. Dot looked down and thought, a business? Perhaps during wartime, but in this era, it's sad that a job built on trading lives can still thrive. He turned and asked Jiang Dun, by the way, are you taking the test too? Jiang Dun grinned and replied, you bet. Here, I can get paid for any illegal job I want. And if I choose the right request, I can kill as many people as I like. He looked up, obsessed. Just thinking about it makes my whole body tingle. Dot watched without saying anything more. Mina, by the door, explained the excitement. We welcome many bloodthirsty guests like him here. They arrived at a new location. This place is, Mina introduced, we call this the Cursed Sacrificial Pit. She raised her hand to announce, we will begin the test now. So please, go down those stairs. Dot silently followed the instructions down into the Cursed Sacrificial Pit. There were already quite a few people down there. Mina shouted down, everyone, are you ready? The crowd below went wild and screamed up, you've kept us waiting long enough. Start it already. I'll kill you first. Mina heard this and timidly remarked, you can't even wait a few days. Mu is so hot-tempered. They asked in surprise, what? Mina raised her hand and returned to her professional demeanor. Now then, look down at your feet. The frizzy-haired man looked down. Beneath our feet, a line of light appeared. What the hell is this? Then, the ground gave way to reveal lava. The blond man covered his face. This heat. Mina raised her hand and added the rules. Over time, that floor will open and eventually retract completely into the walls. The only way to survive this is. Dot looked at the iron chains being lowered from above and thought, chains from a ceiling? Mina continued, once the floor has fully retracted, anyone still alive will be considered to have passed the test. Mina sat down at the edge of the pit and waved. So everyone, do your best. The frizzy-haired man looked up and protested. Those chains are hanging so high. There's no way we can reach them. A man wearing glasses rushed forward excitedly. This is perfect. Being in the air is where I shine. He used an air-walking skill to step through the air and fly up. The frizzy-haired man shouted, Hey, you bastard. You trying to sneak ahead of us? The man with glasses reached out his hand, sure he would pass. Below, the blond man pointed his finger and used a skill. No way I'm letting you do that. Chain redirect. He manipulated the iron chain, causing the man with glasses to miss his grip. He plummeted straight into the glowing lava, his body slowly disappearing beneath the surface. The blond man boasted arrogantly about what he'd just done. Ever heard the saying, the bird that stands out gets shot down? Thinking you could just save yourself was too naive. Suddenly, Jiang Dun punched him. He was like an unchained beast, bloodthirsty as ever. Come on, just surviving is boring as hell, right? Jiang Dun swept through the unprepared men standing there. I'll kill and kill until I'm the only one left who passes this test. The frizzy-haired man was terrified. Damn it, this test was rigged from the start to make us slaughter each other. Dot stood aside, watching the struggle, and realized, is this registration test just a massacre festival? He wondered, is that really all there is to it? Dot caught a man thrown toward him by Jiang Dun. The man rushed at him, looking for a fight. Hey kid, don't just stand there acting cool by yourself. Come play a bit and fight me. Dot set the man down. He warned Jiang Dun, don't waste your breath. You won't last 3 seconds. He stopped in his tracks. What the hell did you just say? Jie reached out to explain. Instead of that, maybe you should focus on how to actually pass this test. Even if you kill everyone here, it's useless if you can't reach those chains. Jiang Dun burst out laughing. Right. You have a point. He grabbed one of the men. In that case, He threw him upward with all his might. Let's see how this works. The man reached out happily to grab the chain. The chain. Unexpectedly, the chain was searing hot. He let go, screaming, "It's too hot." As a result, he fell straight into the lava. Jiang Dun crouched down, crossing his arms. Whoops, that was close. I almost let you convince me, kid. I didn't expect those chains to be too hot to hold. Jiang Dun turned his head, a thought striking him. But now that I know the trick, it's easy. He grabbed a frizzy-haired man and a bald man. What the hell? Let go. Jiang Dun pressed them both firmly against the chains. The scorching heat made them scream in agony. Mina, watching from above, smiled with interest. Oh my, what a bold method. Jiang Dun laughed wickedly. Thanks, buddies. Thanks for taking the pain for me. Jie looked at the tactic with pure disgust. Absolute scum. Jiang Dun turned to call out to him. Come on, kid. You're next. The floor is about to disappear, you know? He sighed. Anyway, it looks like I'm out of sacrifices. Jie looked at the crowd outside. Then he asked, sacrifices? Jie leaped up. I don't need anything like that. He stepped directly onto Jiang Dun. His hands gripped the iron chains. With an expressionless face, he said, My body doesn't feel the heat. The square in front of the Night Order headquarters. Everyone there was waiting in eager anticipation. We finally get to see the Sword Star again. That's right, the symbol of justice. The greatest knights in the kingdom. They can take down terrifying monsters with a single blow. Everyone admires them. As long as he is here, this country is safe. A girl pointed and cried out, There they are? Everyone shouted in unison, Sword Star. Welcome back. He closed his eyes slightly. Facing the roaring cheers, sir. Jiang Dun screamed in shock. What the hell? Up here, someone looked down and remarked, That's quite a drop. Nua Shi, standing nearby, smiled. You're right. But, she added with a sharp gaze, the amount of blood spilled is still nowhere near enough. Jiang Dun roared in anger. You bastard. My face. Get your foot off me right now. Jie turned back with a cold smile. You made a very fine stepping stone. He spoke and kicked hard, sending Jiang Dun falling. Below, the man screamed in a rage. How dare you? Get back here. You little brat. Mina clapped in congratulation. Everyone worked hard. And so, the ones who passed are, these two. Jiang Dun, still hanging on the chain, growled. I will never forgive you. I'll kill you no matter what. Mina took out her papers to take notes. Now then, let's complete the registration procedures for the two of you. Jie asked, We start at F rank, right? Mina replied, Exactly. Just like the commissions, registrants are divided by rank. As you said, everyone starts at F rank, and you'll be promoted one rank every time you complete a commission. Jie crossed his arms and asked further, So all I need to do is keep completing missions? Mina said seriously, As I mentioned, even F-rank missions aren't easy. Every mission is a line between life and death. She remembered and trembled with anger. So many people take on commissions only to give up halfway and crawl back home. Jie showed no emotion. This job is harsh, Mina added. Those currently at high ranks have all crossed that line. They've walked between life and death countless times and completed missions of extreme difficulty. They are true, seasoned warriors. To recognize those achievements, those who reach A rank or higher are granted various privileges. At S rank, you will have access to classified information managed within the top secret archive. Mina smiled and revealed a bit more. You'll also be able to take on high-paying commissions, and there are many more things only high rankers can do. So, aim for the top secret archive. Jie lowered his eyes, memorizing every word. That is definitely the core of the circle, the round table of destruction that was mentioned. If there's information about the client anywhere, it's definitely there. Jie asked Mina, What's the fastest way to reach S rank? Gaia suddenly appeared beside him and answered, By killing a lot of people, of course. Mina turned and called out, Lord Gaia. Jie also looked at him and asked, You are? Mina whispered to him. He has already been approved for promotion to S rank. A rank, the top position. Lord Gaia. Jie stood stunned, thinking, the absolute top of A rank. Mina added, He joined the guild at 5 years old and has buried tens of thousands of targets. Our youngest high ranker ever. Gaia walked up to Jie and asked, Hey big guy, you want to reach S rank too, don't you? He replied sternly, That's right. Gaia leaned in and laughed mockingly. Yeah, not a chance. I mean, come on. From the moment the test started, you just stood there and watched. His eyes were filled with boredom. You couldn't even kill a single person. Gaia grabbed Jie's collar. I can smell it reeking off you. You know? He leaned in close and said bluntly, the foul stench of hypocrisy. Jie frowned. Hypocrisy? Gaia let go and replied, that's right. Because what's the point of sparing people who could just come back and take your head? Fine, I'll admit you have killing skills. Gaia spread his arms and laughed crazily. But you have to thoroughly annihilate your enemies. Jie remained silent. Gaia asked, you get it right? This place is for those who love seeing blood spill. Those who abandoned normal moral standards long ago. He pointed at Jie's chest as a reminder. If you keep holding back like that, you're just asking for trouble, big guy. Jie suddenly burst out laughing. Gaia wondered what's so funny. Jie brushed his hand away. Nothing. It's just. He placed a hand on Gaia's shoulder, having someone about to reach S rank. With a half-joking, half-serious expression, he said, worry about me. It warms my heart. Gaia grit his teeth and looked at Jie with suspicion. He returned to his cold demeanor and added, I appreciate the sentiment, but I have things I must accomplish. I can't waste time on useless detours. Jie touched Gaia's neck, speaking with terrifying calmness. If killing you meant I'd take your S-rank spot. His eyes flashed with ruthlessness as he looked straight at him. Then I would have taken your head this very second. Gaia quickly swatted Jie's hand away from his neck and barked, you freak. Don't touch me like we're best friends. He went berserk and began to transform. Kill me? You just barely passed one measly little test. Gaia's hands sprouted sharp claws. And an F-ranker dares to act so arrogant. He looked at Jie fiercely. If you actually fought me, you wouldn't last the first 10 seconds. Jie raised his hand. Jiang Dun walked up beside them. Don't go making plans without me. He tilted his head, baring his teeth and claws. I'm the one who's going to take your life first. Jie didn't flinch at Jiang Dun's threat. Don't waste your breath. He glanced at him and gave a kind reminder. Once you're dead, you won't even have the chance to regret it. Jiang Dun's eyes turned bloodshot with rage. What did you just say? He grabbed Jie's head. He easily lifted his entire body. You've got guts to talk back to me, the one they call the Hunter of Hunters. I'll crush that pretty face of yours right now. Jie sighed, seeing the man was beyond reason. Sharp threads appeared around Jiang Dun. Magic tool creation skill, Magiton. Pruning iron stakes, big test. 2 stakes connected by a reinforced thread vibrating at high speed. It cuts through everything it touches. Jie held the iron stake and said coldly, I warned you. Jiang Dun was sliced into pieces just like that. His body fell before the eyes of Gaia and Mina. Jie looked down at his feet, cold-blooded and expressionless. Gaia couldn't wait any longer and lunged forward. You only just took down a nobody. He bared his claws and shouted, don't get cocky too soon. Jie observed Gaia and remarked, both power and speed are perfect, just as expected from someone about to reach S rank. Jie summoned the wailing blood whip again. But you always charge in a straight line. He lashed the whip, sending the tip flying toward Gaia. Magic tool, wailing blood whip. Its speed and power fluctuate in proportion to the user's magic. Gaia leaned back to dodge. Something like this. He continued arrogantly. Is nothing to me. Jie suddenly appeared beside Gaia. Just as I predicted. Caught off guard, Gaia could only watch as Jie's strike landed. Gaia was sent flying back. He glared and growled in fury. How dare you? Gaia dug his feet into the ground to steady himself. Jie looked at him and remarked, you really are stubborn. With a twisted smile, Gaia asked, I'm very strong, you know? Nuashi looked down at Jie and recognized it. That's a magic tool creation skill. She wondered, and that fighting style. It can't be. Gaia leaped forward again. I'm not just stubborn. He used extreme speed to circle Jie, trying to distract him. Jie wasn't surprised and asked, even faster now? Gaia finally stopped behind Jie. He laughed triumphantly. Got you. Unexpectedly, before Gaia could move, Jie spun around and struck with his shield. He calmly judged, you're still too green. Let me show you firsthand. There is always someone above you. Hearing that, Gaia got even more excited. Excellent. You really are strong. Big guy. He braced his hands against the shield to gain leverage. Right now I really. He then lunged straight at Jie and finished. Want to kill you? Jie frowned slightly and countered. With that personality, you'll die young. Gaia kicked the shield and shouted, shut up. He struck forward as if driven mad. I hate people who meddle in others' business the most. Jie dodged, causing the blow to shatter the ground. He didn't just defend. He used the shield as a weapon to strike back, then swung it behind him. He then threw it at Gaia. Gaia dodged a full-power move that pulverized the wall behind him. Seeing Jie was now unarmed, Gaia quickly rushed in. But he didn't know Jie had summoned the pruning iron stakes again. Come on, fight me for real. Can you? Gaia rushed forward unguarded and gasped, big guy. Nuashi didn't think so. No, Gaia. S-rank master, third seat, Nuashi Hamahan. With deep red eyes, she warned, don't get overexcited. Gaia irritably cut her off. Don't meddle, Nuashi. He's my prey. Nuashi reached out, controlling her snakes. What a disobedient child. It seems someone needs to be taught a lesson. Her two snakes obeyed and bit off both of Gaia's arms. Nuashi lectured him nonchalantly. It's for your own good. You should listen when your elders are speaking. Gaia collapsed in pain. Damn it. Jie looked at the woman in silence. Gaia threw his head back and screamed as two new arms suddenly sprouted. Stop treating people like your toys. Jie's eyes widened in surprise. Super regeneration? These two. Are they even human? Nuashi folded her hands and looked at him, suggesting, why don't you put your weapons away too? You don't want to lose your life here, do you? Jie could tell that woman was much stronger than Gaia. He retracted his weapons and said, I don't care, as long as I get what I want. Nuashi walked over leisurely and asked, are you referring to the access rights to the top secret archive? That's it, isn't it? She tilted her head slightly and proposed, there's no other reason to be so obsessed with S-rank. Am I wrong? If you listen to me, I can help you. Jie frowned warily. What is your goal? Nuashi crossed her arms and smiled. I also have things I need to accomplish. And to do that, I need someone obedient, young, beautiful, and strong. She leaned close to his ear and emphasized, someone just like you. Jie turned to Nuashi and said bluntly, sounds like a profitable deal, but the price is far too terrifying. Nuashi didn't force him and turned away. You can refuse. But if you do, I'll make sure to stand in your way as much as possible. So be prepared. She raised her hand and called out, let's go, Gaia. We're leaving. Gaia grumbled, don't order me around. He pointed at Jie. I'm the one who's going to kill you, big guy. Next time, I'll definitely finish you off. Jie watched them leave, feeling a bit annoyed. This is getting complicated. But if it gets me closer to him, even by a little, I'll crush any obstacle in my way. 1 week later, Mina asked in shock, what? All of them. Jie dropped 2 stacks of papers and replied, yeah. He said, I've completed every request you gave me. Mina scratched her face with a wry smile. Normally, that would take at least 2 years. Jie knew that. For a normal person, that's true. But this body can operate continuously without sleep or food, and it doesn't know the concept of fatigue. Thanks to that, I can work dozens of times more efficiently than most people. Mina flipped through the list and said, your results are perfect, and your execution is flawless. With this level of skill, your promotion to D rank is guaranteed. Jie crossed his arms and asked, what do I need to do to reach C rank? Mina explained, from this level up, you'll need recommendation letters from high-ranking adventurers and must complete specifically assigned requests. But you've already been recommended. Jie immediately thought of Nuashi. It must be that woman. Mina held out a letter. You've also just received a special request. Jie took the letter to read. An assassination request for a D-rank adventurer. Mina said with some surprise, still, this is incredible. A direct request from Lady Nuashi herself. Jie asked casually, is it that rare? Mina smiled and replied, extremely rare. After all, she is the leader of the largest faction in the entire guild. I remember the last person she personally recruited was Lord Gaia, the top of A rank. Jie remembered Nuashi's words. I also have things I need to accomplish. He wondered, is she collecting exceptional subordinates? What does she plan to do with them? On the face of the letter, it was written, kiss or be bitten. If you don't want to be bitten, give me a kiss. Jie arrived at the meeting point. There were many others inside. Jie looked around. This is the meeting place. The Adventurers Guild. Just like the Dark Guild, the Circle, the Round Table of Destruction, this is one of the ancient organizations with a history dating back to before the Great War. Alexis saw Jie and walked over. You're the one, right? He looked at him and replied, That's right. Alexis introduced himself. D-rank adventurer, swordsman Alexis Lawn. Nice to meet you. I'm Alexis, the leader of the party, Steel Wings. He reached out his hand. Just call me Alex. Jie shook hands with Alexis and said, I'm Ray. I just registered as an adventurer, so I'm still quite green. I look forward to your guidance. Alexis smiled and replied, Even if you're a rookie, I'm glad you accepted. People with the spatial storage skill are very rare and hard to find. Jie nodded. I see. I'll keep that in mind. Spatial storage. A skill that allows you to store items in a separate space. My actual skill is magic tool creation, but with this newly created magic tool, spatial storage, I can mimic it quite well. Jie thought to himself, using that, I'll play the role of a rookie porter to get close to the target. Alexis raised his hand to introduce the others. Let me introduce the rest of the team. This is Carissa, a nun sent from the church, and our healer. And sitting in the back is N, who's in charge of strategy and distractions. D-rank adventurer, priest Carissa No. D-rank adventurer, thief in box. He turned his face away and said, I have no interest in getting friendly with some random guy you dragged in. He made it clear, we'll complete the request, take the reward, and then this party disbands. Alexis put an arm around N's shoulder and advised, Come on, let's all try to get along. N grabbed a vase. Then he smashed it right over Alexis's head. Don't touch me. Carissa stood up to pull him back. Alexis wasn't angry and even said, I'm a bit bad at reading the room. N shouted, Shut up. She said awkwardly, I'm sorry for his behavior. Jie stood there like a statue, watching the chaos. I've seen all kinds of parties, but this level of discord is on a whole different level. I don't know what made someone order his assassination, but Alexis Lawn. He hardened his expression with determination. For my goal, you must die?